If you're a therapist who literally has no idea how to pick a niche for your private practice, I want to tell you, you are not alone, and this video is meant to give you some clarity on how to pick the right niche. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kelley Stevens. I teach therapists how to build thriving private practices. And one of the best ways to build a thriving private practice is to have a lot of clarity on what your niche is. There are a ton of reasons for this. One is that it really helps your search engine optimization to have a very clear niche. Two is that it helps referral sources remember you. And three is that clients really want to know that you are an expert in what they're facing. They want somebody to be able to say to them, I know this therapist, she is amazing at this specific thing, let me give you her number. But you might be sitting here thinking, I have absolutely no idea how to pick a niche, let alone how to articulate it on my website, on my social media, in referral source meetings, and all of that. So before you go any further, make sure to check out my niche workbook below. I will make sure to link it. But I want to introduce you to the POE Framework. And this is really how I think about picking a niche. Although this might be a little bit cheesy, I think it's really important. P stands for passion. Passion is super important when it comes to picking a niche. I've had so many therapists ask me, what is the best niche to pick? Or what niche is going to make me the most money? Or where are the most clients in a specific niche? Or should I pick this niche because X, Y, and Z? It is really important when you are considering a niche to pick something that lights you up. You are going to be sitting in sessions for ideally the next 20, 30, 40 years of your career. You want to make sure that you have passion and that one of your core values really is working with a specific niche, because that is what's going to get you through the long term. It takes time to really think about what that is, but one really helpful thing to do can be keeping a notepad beside your therapy chair. And after you finish a session with a client, if you notice that you really enjoyed that session, not that it's all about us, but sometimes we know the sessions we enjoy more than others, you can write down some just common characteristics of what that session was about or some common themes, and that can start to give you a clear idea about what your niche might be. In the POE framework, O stands for opportunity. Now, unfortunately, not every niche is going to have enough clients to sustain a full private practice. I want to give a very big caveat here that more than likely, if you pick a niche, it is going to have enough clients. The reason I'm saying this is oftentimes there are more clients than you might imagine struggling with any one particular thing. But sometimes you might not be in a situation where you have the opportunity to see a certain type of client that you might really enjoy seeing. So this might be if you're pre-licensed and you need to find a supervisor to supervise your hours, and you don't have somebody in your particular niche who can supervise those hours. It might be that you live somewhere very rural and it might be better to pick something a little bit more general, right? There are very specific niches out there. I'll give you a really great example. One of my dear friends works with families who have recently had a child diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and learning to process some of the emotional challenges around that. That can feel like a very specific niche. However, she's in Los Angeles and there are enough clients to sustain that niche. If she was in a very rural city, there might not be. So one thing you absolutely need to consider when picking a niche is the opportunity you have to be around those type of clients. The last thing you want to think about when picking a niche is experience. Now, experience is not everything. I see some therapists say, I went through X, Y, or Z growing up, or my family went through a divorce when I was growing up, or whatever it is. And they might say, I have all this experience, therefore I feel like I have to pick this niche that's related. That's not necessarily true, right? You can become a very good student of different topics and subjects and mental health issues. You don't necessarily have to have had personal experience in order to be a great therapist for a certain population. However, when you are reflecting on your niche, your experience does play a role. And it's important to think about whether or not you want to work with a population that you might have some personal experience with. I have seen it go both ways. I've seen therapists say, you know what? I have experience with this thing, and because it hits really close to my personal life, I don't want to work with this population. And I've seen therapists say, I live, breathe, and eat this one thing, and therefore I want to work with this population. It's another thing to consider when picking a niche. I hope the POE framework was helpful. Make sure to check out my niche workbook below. If these videos are helpful to you, it makes a huge difference if you drop a comment below or if you subscribe to my channel. I am so thankful you are here, and I'll see you next time.